What's up, marketers? Today's video is going to show you exactly how to be a UGC creator. I personally make an additional $2 to $3 grand every single month for my UGC content, and I don't even edit my own videos. I think this is the perfect side hustle for people who like to be creative, and literally anyone can do it. I even get my mom to do UGC content. So why am I the person to show you how to do this? My name is Dara Denney, and I'm the Senior Director of Performance Creative at the agency Thesis. And I actually created the UGC department at Thesis, where we now source up to 50 creators every single month for some of the top brands in D2C and e-commerce. I'm also a UGC creator myself, and I have brands pay me anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for a single UGC video. This video is going to show you exactly how I would get started now as a UGC creator, and it's also going to point out the things that I look for when sourcing UGC creators. So first things first, what is UGC? UGC stands for user-generated content, and this is essentially lo-fi content that is shot from your phone that brands and companies are going to use to make organic and ad content from. It's essentially meant to look like a real user shot it. So I know that there are sometimes people who are like, oh, it's not real user-generated content because you just didn't make it. It's creator-made content or actor-generated content, but most people just call it UGC. This type of content really works on platforms like Facebook ads and TikTok ads because these platforms are really influencing people's buying decisions. So brands and businesses want to make content that sort of look organic or at least look native to those platforms. And this really is the type of content that is generating sales and revenue. So why should you be a UGC creator? The first thing is that it costs pretty much nothing to start. You really just need your phone. And there's no additional equipment or training to invest in, especially upfront. And depending on your pricing structure and how many brands or agencies you decide to partner with for projects, you can easily be making an additional $3 to $4 grand per month. I know some creators that are making 5 figures, so more than $10,000 per month from their user-generated content. And honestly, being a content creator is really fun, especially if you are a creative person. I always had a little bit of regret or curiosity about being an influencer and having a big platform, but user-generated content really allowed me to explore what it was like to be a creator without feeling like I had to have hundreds of thousands of followers. You don't need any followers at all to get started with UGC. But you do need a few things to get started before you go out and start pitching yourselves to brands. Number one, you do need a phone. And you can use iPhone or Android, it really doesn't matter, but it does have to have a certain quality to it. But honestly, if you have an iPhone 8 or more, that's probably gonna be fine. The other thing that you're gonna need is editing software. And what's awesome is the editing software that I use is completely free. It's called CapCut. This is essentially TikTok without it being TikTok. ByteDance, who owns TikTok, also owns CapCut. So that's why, and it's super user-friendly, and you're gonna be able to do all the cool TikTok effects directly on this platform, like the green screen effect. Another thing I really recommend for budding UGC creators is to have a portfolio of some kind. You can sign up for a free website via Canva, and that totally suffices. And really all that you need here is a quick bio about you, the things that you like, and the niches that you'd like to concentrate on as a creator, and a few examples of your work. I have a video right here that shows you exactly how to make the perfect UGC video, and I would recommend having 3 or 4 examples of different brands. You can just choose brands that you already have at your house to make for this type of content and put that on your website, and frankly, you're ready to go to start pitching. So how do you get your first client? Now, the first thing that you might want to do is sign up for a third-party marketplace. This is essentially a website that is going to allow businesses, brands, and entrepreneurs to look through your profile and essentially contact you to create content for them. I'm gonna be really transparent though. A lot of times these don't really pay so well, but I have used them in the past at Thesis to source content, but I've never personally used them as a creator. But I've heard that they just aren't quite as nice as working with the brand or the agency directly. I've worked with B-roll. That's a really good one to get started up with. I tend to find that they do pay creators a bit more fairly. Another popular one is Billow or Incense or even Trend.io or Hashtag Paid. I actually think that you can find better brand deals on Hashtag Paid, but you tend to have a much bigger audience for that. Another Another platform that I recommend newbie UGC creators getting on is Twitter. This is going to be a great place to reach out to brands and agencies directly to get you your first gig. I've actually hired multiple people for their first gig through Twitter, so this is a totally fine place to get started. It's also going to be a really good community for you to meet other people in the UGC industry. And I actually have a UGC list right here of some of the top UGC creators in our industry that you can go ahead and follow and make friends with. I found that this community is actually super engaging and really helpful. So if you're really serious about becoming a UGC creator, be sure to make some other friends and connections in the industry, because that's going to help you a lot. There's also a number of agencies and brands that are going to be putting out call outs and casting calls on Twitter for UGC creators. And this is a really good way to get your foot in the door for your first few gigs. And honestly, once you have your portfolio / website created, I would go ahead and start reaching out to those brands directly that you want to work with. You're not going to have to do inbound that long, especially if you're creating content that's top tier. And I do have a video about how to create the best type of UGC content that you can right up here. Once you start getting a name for yourself and you start producing more content and posting more content, you're going to get a ton more inbounds and you're not going to have to do as much outreach. The other thing that I suggest for newbie UGC creators is to start putting your content out on TikTok and on Instagram. TikTok and Instagram is actually where we find a majority of our top creators right now at Thesis. We do use Twitter to some extent, so be sure to follow me and at me on Twitter. Maybe I'll have a project for you because we're sourcing literally all the time at Thesis. But we're really looking through hashtags and certain tags on TikTok and Instagram to find the creators that are already making content about certain niches that we're hiring for, which is really why I recommend you picking anywhere from 3 to 4 niches or industries that you're really passionate about creating content for, so that when brands or agencies are looking for that and they already see that you're interested in it, it's a much more of a natural alignment. So these type of niches or industries could be things like beauty, makeup, skincare, tech, or plants, or whatever, apparel. Like there's literally a million things. It just really depends on the type of stuff you want to make ads for. And honestly, I've often found that when working with creators, finding the stuff that they're already passionate about tends to result in much better content. So you really don't want to be making content for just anything. Another big question I get is how to price your UGC services. Now, like I already told you, brands pay me anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per month. And that's really on the high rate. And the reason why I'm able to charge that amount is because, number one, I have a proven track record for creating ads that convert. And also a lot of people know me from this channel or from my Twitter profiles. So candidly, I have a lot of demand. I also have a lot of examples of my work, and people essentially want me to replicate that, and they have high confidence in my ability to do so. I would personally, if you are a newbie, start off pricing yourself from $100 to $150 per batch of UGC raw content or per video. Again, this is for newbies. As you start to become more comfortable with creating content and you start creating better and better content, and especially those people who tend to generate really good results through their ad content for us, that's when we are totally happier at the agency to pay those higher rates. I'd say that in general, we're paying anywhere from $100, $150 up to $500 for UGC content at Thesis. But really the $400 to $500 range is really reserved for those pretty big projects, and also for those creators that we know already produce amazing content and frankly have been working with us for a long time. So how can you get paid that top dollar? Again, be sure to watch this video up here because I go through really the 7 criteria that I'm looking for when trying to partner with creators to pay that top dollar rate. But really the first thing is you have to increase your content quality. I will automatically pay a creator more if their content looks better on Instagram and TikTok. So even if you're just creating content for yourself and you're having fun, even if it's not about the niche that I'm trying to hire you for a certain brand, I will pay you more because I already know that you have a certain production quality that is better than normal or a little bit more elevated. That's really something that I find is really hard. I still find that a lot of UGC creators still haven't quite invested in making better overall production quality content. And that is something that is becoming more important. So I'm thinking about things like using golden hour lighting, really thinking about the background and their setup and crafting these more engaging stories. really, like, I am happy to pay that top dollar amount to have better aesthetic quality, as well as better like energy quality and better genuine reactions to the product. That kind of stuff is really hard, which is why we pay a very select few of our creators the more of that top dollar amount. Another way that you can get paid more money for UGC content is through whitelisting or Spark ads. This essentially allows brands and companies to run ads through your handle. Now, this is a really easy way to generate more money every single month, literally by doing nothing. I often allow brands to take my handle on either TikTok or Instagram, and for an additional like $250 every single month, you know, run their ads through it. This is really easy money for me, and it doesn't really take too much on the back end to get set up with. All that you need to do is have a professional Facebook page that is connected to your Instagram, and it's pretty easy to send that to the brands and agencies to then run ad content through. I know sometimes a lot of brands want to have you create individualized single videos that are fully edited, but I actually think it's really valuable to just have the raw content. And at Thesis, we actually just hire UGC creators to make the raw content because we already have a production team full of video editors. So even if you are contracted for a video, what I would recommend is also sending along a few clips of B-roll or all of your raw content, because that's super, super valuable. And a lot of times you can also negotiate to get a higher rate for that. So what I would do is, if you're contracted for a video, ask if they want the raw content and charge them like an extra $50 for it or something. The other factor in getting paid top dollar is relationships. Now, the brands that I'm working with that pay me $1,000 per UGC video, those are the ones that I've been working with for like a year plus, because I've developed those really positive relationships with them, and because they have already seen traction and performance out of the ad content that I make for them. I've also been able to take more of a creative strategist role with a lot of those brands. So that means that I'm able to take a look at their competitors, take a look at what's already working for them, and bring them new scripts and concepts instead of them sending me the brief on what to act on. I find that a lot of times, especially agency side, when we're working with creators, they just wait for the brief and they do everything to the brief, and there isn't always a lot of creativity going on, which is again why with those top creators who bring us their own ideas about the product or brand, those are the ones that we're already going to be paying more, because they've already shown a lot of interest in working with us and making that content that much better. And that's it. I'm really curious about how many of you guys are creating UGC content. I also find this is literally the perfect side hustle if you're a founder or someone who's working in marketing. I often find that marketer brains who do UGC content on the side often have the best ad performance, and those are the people that I really love to partner with and pay top dollar with. So even if you're one of my longtime subscribers who's a media buyer or a marketer or a founder or business owner, getting into UGC content on the side is a great way to generate another stream of income. Let me know if you're a UGC creator in the comments below, and tell me what type of industry you like creating content for the most. Maybe I have a brand for you to work with. Later, guys. See you next week.